Hi, my name is Naval and I'm the sole member of the team Idli Vada Sambar. Today I'm submitting my final code for the Syngenta AI agent hackathon. This is part of the final video and the first 2 minutes of my introduction. I am the architect of this application. I have around 13 years of experience in enterprise software sales, consulting, oil and gas, engineering, project management. I have worked at companies like Indian Oil Corporation, IBM, Infosys, and ServiceNow. My work has been primarily in real-time data system, some bit on compliance, automation, and HR analytics in past. I have had experience on continuous authorization management and compliance management. What I felt, which I learned from this competition, was how we could bring simple English of an operator or a human to query both the existing structured databases and then create SQL queries and run on top of those databases, as well as have some queries to pass through the policies and compliance. While I have used NL to SQL to convert natural language to SQL queries, challenges faced during this project has been getting the exact term of what to search for example, sales and amount. So generating alias so that the runtime SQL query generated is hitting the right table column and then is able to do some computation. It has been a hit and a miss using Claude API. I have also tried to do the same effort with Llama 3 with Ollama, so that the software works in an offline mode as well when the cloud access has been taken away, which would happen post hackathon. So I've made this app to work with 2 LLMs, which can be selected in real time on the web page, just to have it for future references and future use as well. Second part, the challenge that I faced was when there was any query that came in which had multiple compliances to be looked at, or multiple table and compliance to be met with. Those often triggered the SQL as well and compliance as well, which would give out a paragraph of answer on compliance and then run some SQL query as well. When the compliance code runs, it writes a nice paragraph and tells what has been done, what is to be done, but there is no chain of thought involved here. Third challenge was building in access control. So we have built in some mock access, user access, but since we haven't mapped the controls to control users, so on the runtime, being able to understand if someone is from finance and should be able to look at this document and not the other one is not currently happening. So future work could be if we tag these compliances to say supply chain, logistics, HR, legal, finance, operations, engineering. So then based on those, I could have then created multiple vector stores and then put access controls there. So those are the main challenges. I will then switch to screen sharing so that you can see how the app works. I know it's not a very fancy and highly functional application, but this is my submission for the competition. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day. So let me walk you through the architecture of this AI agent which I have developed before I show the demonstration. The AI agent is running in Streamlit UI for natural language input and response. The LLM support is with 2 LLMs. If you can see on the left side, there is a sidebar. It shows Claude, which is available only for Hackathon. I have also developed on the same AI agent on Llama, so that after the event also I can continue to use it. So it has LLM routing built in. It allows you to ingest data and documents and refresh the policy vector store as well. In future, I want to make it white labeled compliance AI agent, so that anyone can ingest any document of transaction, any document of control, and just check short-term inquiries. It will not be aligned to only one kind of compliance queries. There is debug log enabled, so that during development and as well as during working, audit log can be generated. I use LangChain to chunk embed and search PDFs and sentence transformers to generate embeddings. Structured data gets passed through NL to SQL pipeline to query the 180,000 SQLite database using dynamically generated SQL. The SQL gets generated from the query that I put. And this has hybrid mode. The screen shows both policy response as well as query response. So if it's a policy only question, then the query will show that there is no query and only policy. If it's SQL only, then there will be no policy response as understand. The innovations here is the date parsing is done dynamically, so that we don't need to hard code the date format. I have added a lot of aliases and made it very highly verbose, so that LLM can understand which column to pick up from the transaction database. So there is again no hard coding. We have ensured that the model is compatible across languages. The challenges we faced was mapping vague queries like last quarter. So last quarter not from the system date, but from the date inside the data set. So we tried to parse the data set twice. Once someone sends a query last quarter, the agent goes and parses the data set, understands the first date, last date, understands the last quarter, then puts that date into the query as last quarter, and then runs the query. Not last quarter from our time, because the data set is till 2017 and our issue 2025. So that was done. There were challenges in terms of aligning user-friendly terms to schema. They have been resolved with pre-processing, some dynamic inferencing, and some field aliasing. So let me do a live demonstration for you. If I paste a question like this, what is our policy in obsolete inventory, and I press enter, and for the time being, if I can minimize this, or I can just keep it as it is. So here it shows error because there is no SQL response for this, and this is the policy based response. The obsolete inventory is defined when so and so for so and so identification and that part, and then it concludes. This is using Claude, and if I want to have a local fallback, then I can select local fallback, and this will automatically refresh with a local option. Llama 3 will not be as accurate as Claude, and the results of less accuracy will be visible soon. So here it has tried to run a SQL query by looking at policy or something. It has tried to look into all the tables but found nothing. So ideally it should have figured out that it's not an SQL question. We'll wait for the policy answer. It's running on my computer, which is not high configuration system, so that could be a reason for a slight delay in searching a document stored on my computer. but I wanted it to run completely offline with no internet access, so that organizations that do not want the data to leave their firewall should be able to still have some kind of LLM facility. So this is the policy based answer from Llama. According to obsolete so and so policy initially so and so, by and federal movement of policy, and then it was overall policy and so and so. So this is the answer with Llama, and the previous one was with Claude. So if we ask a question, say what is the total sales in a particular region, here we're running on Llama. So it has with Llama it has picked up these three leading parts of the SQL generated, these three leading characters, and that's the reason it was not able to run the query. And of course the policy based answer is also not there. Let me then again show this in Claude. NL2 SQL has had issues in terms of generating and picking up SQL queries with Llama. So here it says this is the total sale in Canada region, and suppose if I say in 2016, which is the previous year. So Claude performs significantly better than Llama. So it says 73,741, and then if I say for example 2017, so it will again, if there is any sale there, it can query that and generate a query and run there. With Ollama, it's a very hit and a miss kind of a situation. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So there is no sale here in 2017. 2016 it was. Let us look at 2015. So again, it doesn't show any results there. But if we just try to use it by region, it will show across sum across all the years and all the time sets. So it generates SQL dynamically, and then it queries the system. It takes to time to answer is around 2 to 3 seconds in Claude. The RAG math score is around 80 to 87%. SQL generation is fast, but it may not be accurate in Llama 3. Hybrid queries require some help. For example, when I search for this question, are we using optimal shipping mode for high value international orders? So this uses both SQL and policy based query. So it should have data from transaction data DB as well as SQL. So it is able to get what shipping mode we are using and what order value we are using in what shipping days, but it's not able to tell is that optimal or not. that has is there a better way to handle this or not, for example. And if I use the same thing with llama, let us see how the llama responds to this. Yeah, so it's not able to generate clean SQL, and it's not able to pick uh, to cut away the English before and after SQL. So SQL generation is an issue with llama 3, but it works in Claude, and we have seen those errors in our development phase when I did the debug mode. I could see the issues coming in. So to summarize, I have prepared a Pulsion compliance assistant for Syngenta. What I have also tried to develop as a future work is a compliance dashboard, which generates controls from the compliance codes. So it takes in every statement of the hundreds of PDFs of compliance requirement. Every PDF has lines, so it looks for control terms like must, should, less than, more than, and generates controls. And then it tries to match this control to a relevant field in the transaction database, and then it tries to find violations. My future work is to convert this into a visual dashboard which has charts, so that we know on real time which controls are failing without need to query. At present, you will see the related field as NA because fields are not being picked up dynamically by the English of control and the English of the field text. So you will see a lot of NA, and then everything is showing as non-compliant, and this is NA. But that's the future work that I have planned to develop with my application. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.